Tired of sugar-coated news and corporate spin? Check out The Nicole Sandler Show. Speaking truth to power with the irreverence it deserves. Smart, fearless, and just the right amount of snark. Nicole breaks down the headlines, exposes the hypocrisy, and talks with the people working for real change. Weekdays at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on Progressive Voices. NicoleSandler.com, Substack, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't just get the news, get the truth.
It's Sunday morning, and that wonderfully relaxed feeling of a long, lazy day lingers in the air. If you want to make the moment last, may I suggest the perfect solution, the Martin Sheen Podcast. Join me, your host, Martin Sheen, for beautifully crafted 20-minute programs filled with never-before-heard stories of my life, along with personal reflections and poetry that inspires. The Martin Sheen Podcast is the perfect Sunday refresh, a chance to take a deep breath, relax, and know that the stress of Monday may be just around the corner, but not here, not now. So make this your weekly moment of calm as we explore faith, hope, love, and what it means to be human. And know this journey is ever unfolding as I invite you to see what's next with me, Martin Sheen. And thank you.
Our press secretary gave alternative facts to that.
My goal in this deposition was to be truthful, but not particularly helpful.
Welcome to UnSpun, the podcast that makes you better at finding the truth. The way people get news is changing. It used to be that there were many reporters who would research stories and write articles, but now politicians and famous people share information directly with you on social media and the internet. That means you find out things fast, but it's up to you to make sure the information's actually accurate. And newsmakers don't always do their part. The temptation to manipulate information is strong. They bend the truth to deceive so that they can avoid accountability, so that they can advance their agendas. When you recognize these agendas, you can sometimes find out what's real. And we're at a crossroads where anyone can share anything online, so it's important to sharpen your critical thinking skills. Finding that deception before it goes viral is pretty much a survival skill now, and we're going to do it together. Let's get unspun. Hello, truth seekers, and welcome to the second episode of the UnSpun Journal Club. In this occasional mini episode, I'm breaking down some new research on important topics in journalism and misinformation. Sound good? Let's get unspun. Today's paper is called Disinformation on Digital Media Platforms, a Market-Shaping Approach, and it's by Carlos Diaz-Ruiz from the Henken School of Economics in Finland. Let's dig in. When you think about why people might spread disinformation, there's a lot of potential reasons. It could be because they believe sharing it will support a cause. Maybe it's because they want revenge or some other way of hurting people they don't like. Maybe they're just confused. Well, this article takes a different approach and asks us to step back and look at a different layer to the problem. The basic concept is that disinformation pays. Literally. For example, in the 2016 presidential election, reporters from BuzzFeed, NBC News, the BBC, and CBS found that there were dozens of teenagers and young adults from the small city of Veles, Macedonia, running fake news websites aimed at American audiences. They were not political activists, and many said that they didn't care about U.S. politics at all. What they cared about was traffic. They learned that sensational headlines about either candidate spread fast on Facebook, which pulled in large numbers of clicks and generated steady ad revenue through Google AdSense. Some earned thousands of dollars a month, and a few made tens of thousands in a single election season. And that was a lot more than local jobs were paying. Ruiz says that fake and misleading information spreads online not just because people believe it, but because the internet is built in a way that rewards content that spreads fast. You can think about social media like a game, and posts that get lots of likes and shares and comments, they win. The platforms then show those posts to even more people. And what that means is that loud, emotional, or shocking posts do better than calm or careful ones. So when fake stories spread, it's not a mistake, it's the system doing what it was designed to do. So instead of asking who is lying or who got tricked, the article asks a different question. Who makes money when a story goes viral? And the answer is not just the person who posted it. Ad companies make money when people click. Platforms make money when people stay longer. Influencers make money when more people follow them. All of them benefit when engagement goes up, even if the story is not true. In the article, Ruiz explains it by comparing 3 kinds of media. First, in the old days of TV and radio, news companies needed very large audiences. To keep everyone watching, they avoided saying things that might upset too many people. And this sometimes meant ignoring smaller groups or problems, which created this kind of false idea that everyone agreed. Later, partisan media outlets like cable and talk radio focused on smaller, loyal audiences. So these outlets use strong opinions and a kind of an us versus them story to keep their viewers coming back. A clear example of this comes from talk radio and cable news in the United States, especially starting in the 1990s. After the Fairness Doctrine was removed in 1987, radio and TV stations didn't have to present opposing views on political issues anymore. And this made it easier for shows to focus on one side of an argument and speak directly to a specific audience. One well-known case of this is Rush Limbaugh. He was a conservative talk radio host who actually got the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump in 2020, about a year before Limbaugh died. His shows did not try to appeal to everyone. Instead, it targeted a loyal group of listeners who felt ignored or attacked by liberal elites. Limbaugh framed politics as a fight between real Americans and their enemies, and this kept his audience engaged and coming back day after day. Cable news has followed a similar path. Fox News built its brand by speaking to a conservative audience that felt mainstream media just did not represent them. Their programs used strong language and clear sides and repeated stories about cultural and political threats. Viewers were not just watching the news, they were joining a team. On the other side, MSNBC, now MS Now, later built shows aimed at liberal audiences, and they used opinion-driven programs that criticized conservatives and framed politics as a struggle over values and identity. Now, in all of these cases, the goal wasn't to reach the largest possible audience. The goal was to keep a smaller group of loyal followers who would watch longer, tune in every day, and trust the outlet. And again, those strong opinions and those us versus them stories, that made that loyalty stronger. This model worked well business-wise. Loyal audiences bring steady ratings, which makes it easier to sell ads, and they bring influence. But it also pushed the media toward conflict and division, because disagreement and identity are what keep people engaged. Today, on social media, attention is what gets bought and sold. People and companies compete for clicks and likes. The more attention you get, the more money you make. And this pushes creators to notice things that are emotional or angry or shocking because those get noticed. Algorithms, which are computer systems that decide what you see, learn what makes people react and then show more of that content. Ad systems will put ads next to popular posts without checking if they're true. And influencers have learned that being controversial brings money, especially when they sell merchandise or ask fans to pay to subscribe to their Substack or Patreon. The main point of the article is that fake information should be seen as a result of the market, not just a problem with communication. As long as attention is rewarded with money, misleading content will keep spreading. So Ruiz asks some really big questions. Who's making money from these fake stories? How do ads help pay for them without people noticing the advertisers? Can platforms really control false content when it's their business model and the way that they make money? And should social media be treated like a private business or like a public space that has duties to society? I think for folks here in the US, there are 2 complications. The first complication is that when it comes to information, national borders just don't matter anymore. Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, operate all over the world, and the content people post instantly reaches users in many countries at the same time. That means a post created in the United States can influence people in France, Germany, or Brazil without slowing down, and that makes disinformation a global issue. A misleading post created in one country can spread far beyond that country's laws and audiences and norms, and one country doesn't get to control the laws in another. Or in other words, disinformation is complicated because it doesn't obey those lines we draw on maps. A second complication in the U.S. is the First Amendment to the Constitution, which guarantees a right to free speech. The First Amendment says the government cannot easily tell people what they are allowed to say or publish, and this rule exists for a good reason. It protects people who criticize the government, who share unpopular opinions, or who speak out against those in power. But this protection also creates a problem. In most cases, it's not illegal to lie. A person can share a false story online, and still be protected by the First Amendment as long as it doesn't break specific laws like fraud or threats or defamation. That means the government usually cannot step in and stop disinformation just because it's untrue or harmful. Now, connect this to how digital media markets work. Social media companies make money when people click, watch, and share. The First Amendment limits how much governments can regulate speech on these platforms. So even when false stories are spread fast and cause harm, it's hard for lawmakers to create strong rules without being accused of censorship. And this pushes responsibility onto private companies instead of the government. Platforms like Facebook or YouTube can remove content because they are private companies, but not because the government tells them to. But these companies also make money from engagement. So this creates a real conflict. Removing popular content can reduce traffic and attention and ultimately profit. Here's a simple example. Imagine a playground where kids are allowed to say almost anything. The school's not allowed to step in unless there's real danger. Some kids learn that yelling rumors gets attention. The louder the rumor, the bigger the crowd. The school asks the playground monitors to handle it, but the monitors get rewards when more kids gather around. The rules protect free speech, but they also make it hard to stop harmful behavior when attention is the reward. And so that's why the First Amendment matters in this context. It doesn't cause misinformation, but it does limit how the government can respond when markets reward misleading content. These issues collided in early 2026 when French prosecutors raided the Paris offices of X and summoned Elon Musk for questioning as part of a cybercrime investigation into the platform's algorithm and its AI tool Grok. Authorities in France are looking into whether the platform systems may have spread harmful material such as deepfake images, Holocaust denial, and other illegal content, and whether the way the site recommends content could have influenced political discussions in France. Denying the Holocaust is illegal in France, where free speech laws work differently. So this situation shows how a US-based platform can be held to French laws because its content affects people in France. Even though X is owned and run in the United States, French police can still investigate because the platform is used by people in France and is therefore subject to their local rules about illegal content. So, as Ruiz points out, understanding posting disinformation as a way to make money lets you think of some ways to tackle the issue that go beyond verification. His message isn't that fact-checking is useless, it does help, but it's not enough. If the system rewards fake stories, then stopping them means changing what the system rewards, not just pointing out what is false. Convincing the people who are able to make that change to do that, that is the real challenge. So that's our journal club for this week. Thanks to Dr. Ruiz for such an interesting paper. If you have suggestions for other work for UnSpun Journal Club, I'd love to hear about it. I've got contact information in the outro. Stay sharp, everyone. Thanks for getting Unspun with me this week. Unspun is a production of me, Amanda Sturgill, and is a proud member of the MSW Media family of podcasts. Send me your thoughts and ideas about trickery in the news on Gmail at theunspunpodcast@gmail.com. I even write back. And find this episode's show notes and more information at theunspunpodcast.substack.com. Want to learn more and get smarter? Check out my book, Detecting Deception, Tools to Fight Fake News, which is available on Amazon or your favorite online bookseller. And until next time, stay sharp, everyone.
Hey, it's Jody Hamilton.
And Sean Smith-Pierce.
Here's a taste of what you might have missed from the Politics Bar.
Jody, I was listening to you this morning, filling in for Steph. You and Chris were debating, and just for the record, Jody is right. Chris's argument is that there is some truth to what's being said about the left being in their own information silo. Right.
Basically, we started talking about how Gavin Newsom has invited people on his podcast, high up MAGA guys.
Yeah. Well-known right-wing propagandists. That's what they are. Yeah.
And my argument is he shouldn't be inviting them because nobody on that side is listening to Gavin Newsom.
Right. It doesn't help to bring propagandists into a sphere where truth matters because they're just going to lie their asses off anyway.
Right.
So here is a public service message for Chris Lavoie. Jody Hamilton is right. Catch all that and more weeknights at the Politics Bar. Available through your favorite progressive radio station, your favorite podcast player, or online anytime at thepoliticsbar.com.
History is messy. It's weird, wild, and anything but boring. Rainy Day Rabbit Holes is a history podcast about unhinged stories that make you stop and ask, wait, is this real life?
From crazy disasters and tasty scandals to enlightening and surprising heartwarming tales, we explore the moments where people behave badly and sometimes beautifully.
We've got naughty politicians, cultural chaos, and a deep love for the Pacific Northwest, including Bigfoot.
It's thoughtful, irreverent, occasionally serious, and always entertaining.
Let's fall down the rabbit hole.
MSW Media.